and welcome back to my channel if you're new here. Hi, I'm Jules and I'm designing an entire theme park that's based on urban legends set in the United States called Urban Legends America. Now, obviously, with a name like that, you can't have a theme park without the actual urban legends. So, I want to introduce to you one of the many creatures that might be calling the waters of this park home. So, let me ask you, have you ever heard of Lake Champlain's very own sea monster, Champ? There is something in Lake Champlain. For centuries, stories of a massive creature beneath its surface has circulated, told by locals, visitors, and even scholars. Over time, more than 300 sightings have been reported. They call it Champ or Champy. Witnesses describe a long neck, a dark body moving just beneath the water. Some say it swims alongside boats. Others claim it rises briefly, then disappears without a sound. In the 1970s, a photograph surfaced, one that people still debate today. Skeptics say it's nothing more than large fish or drifting logs, but that doesn't explain the pattern. The same shape, the same movement, and almost always just far away enough that you can't be sure what you saw. So the question is, if hundreds of people are describing the same thing, what's actually in the lake? Long before these modern sightings, indigenous communities in the region told their own stories. The Abenaki and Iroquois people spoke of a powerful creature living in the lake, a horned serpent, a giant snake. The Abenaki called it Gidaskog. In the early 18th century, they warned French explorers not to disturb the waters for fear of awakening whatever lived below. One of those explorers was Samuel de Champlain, the man the lake would eventually be named after. He's often credited as the first European to document something unusual in these waters, but his account may not be what it seems. Champlain described a strange fish, long, armored, with a sharp-toothed snout. Later translations suggest he wasn't describing a monster at all, but a species of gar. Still, the sightings didn't stop. In 1819, one witness claimed to see an enormous serpentine creature stretching what he estimated to be nearly 200 feet long in the distance. He described glowing eyes, unusual markings, even a band of red around its neck. Then, in 1883, a sheriff named Nathan H. Mooney reported seeing something just offshore, much closer this time. He claimed the creature was between 25 and 30 feet long, close enough to make out details inside its mouth. Mooney's account spread quickly, and soon others began coming forward with their own stories. And they haven't stopped since. Sightings continue to this day. Same lake, same shape, same question. What are people actually seeing in Lake Champlain? Before I continue on with today's story, I'd like to take a moment to thank my Patreon members. And speaking of that, we actually have two new folklore enthusiasts joining us. I'd like to welcome Nicholas Granda and Mariam Johnson to the Folklore Enthusiast Club. Your support genuinely means a lot to me, not just designing the theme park, but sharing the journey along the way. If you're wondering what's going on over on Patreon, for $5 a month, you can get early access videos, behind-the-scenes content, voting on future projects, and even receive exclusive postcards every month. If any of that sounds of interest to you, I will put the link to my Patreon in the description below. A big thank you again to my Patreon supporters, and thank you to you for even considering becoming a folklore enthusiast. Okay, now let's dive back into this legend. The most well-known sighting came in 1977. That's when a woman named Sandra Mancy captured what would become the most famous image of Champ. She was on vacation with their family when she took a photograph that appeared to show a long-necked creature rising out of the lake. But there's a problem. The bay where the photo was taken is only about 14 feet deep, and according to Joan Nickel, a researcher known for investigating the paranormal, claims it would be extremely unlikely for a massive creature to swim, let alone hide in water that shallow. Some believe the image shows something far less mysterious, a partially submerged tree trunk or a drifting log. The mystery deepens when the photo itself is examined. In The Untold Story of Champ, researcher Robert Bartholomew explains that the image was sent to a nautical expert named Philip Rains for analysis, but two critical pieces of evidence were missing. Mancy had thrown away the original negative, and she couldn't remember the exact location where the photo was taken. Without those details, it became impossible to verify what was actually captured. No way to measure size, no way to confirm distance, no way to even prove it was taken on Lake Champlain at all. Rains was never able to authenticate the image, and the story behind it raised more questions than answers. But the sightings didn't stop. By 1992, there had been around 180 reported sightings, with nearly 600 people claiming they had seen Champ for themselves. Even today, people cross the lake and still scan the water hoping to catch a glimpse. Some claim they have. Photos have surfaced over the years, blurry shapes, dark forms beneath the surface, much like its famous counterpart, the Loch Ness Monster. Every image is debated, analyzed, and never fully explained. Then, in 2003, something different was discovered. Researchers working with the Fauna Communications Research Institute recorded unusual sounds coming from deep within the lake. Echolocation. The kind of sound typically produced by animals like beluga whales or orcas. But there's another problem. No known species of dolphin or whale has ever been recorded living in Lake Champlain. After centuries of sightings, photographs that can't be confirmed, and even sounds that don't quite match anything we know, we're still left with the same question. What's actually in Lake Champlain? Here's where things get interesting. Some of the earliest clues might not point to a monster at all. Champlain himself described a strange fish he encountered here, long, armored, with a narrow snout and sharp teeth. At the time, it sounded almost mythological. But later analysis suggests that he was likely seeing something very real, a species known today as the long-nosed gar, a fish that can grow large, move quietly, and surface in ways that can look unfamiliar from a distance. And that's where the idea gets more interesting, because once you start adding together real animals, real sightings, shifting perspectives, and centuries of storytelling, the picture starts to blur. Large fish like sturgeon can reach massive sizes. Light refraction on dark waters can distort shape and distance. Even floating logs, half submerged, can look strangely alive in motion. And yet that doesn't fully explain why the same stories keep coming up. It's the same shape, it's the same movement across generations. So maybe Champ isn't really one thing. Maybe it's a collection of things we've seen, misunderstood, and passed down, because the line between what we know and what we're still learning is thinner than it seems. And that's what led me here, to start building something different, a sanctuary. A place dedicated not to proving these creatures exist, but to preserving the stories that made us believe they might. A theme park where folklore, legend, and the unknown are treated with reverence. Where Champ isn't just a mystery in a lake, but part of a much larger collection of human imagination. Because in the end, we don't just discover creatures in the dark, we create meaning for what we see there, and sometimes that's just as real. And that's our legend for today, folks. If you enjoy deep dives into folklore and urban legends, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can click that bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a new video. I love hearing your thoughts, your theories, and any legend you think I should explore next. So be sure to tell me what you think in the comments below. If you want to support me and find more content from me just like this, you can also check out my socials on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled and your flashlights ready, because you never know what might be lurking in the shadows. Bye-bye. Oh my God. It just sounds like... Ooh, girl.
Welcome to the club. Blah, blah, blah.
Good Lord.